This week's episode is a great setup for the finale, and in its own right was very entertaining. There was a lot of interesting character moments, some great dialogue pieces, some development when it came to the characters too, and also the action was impeccable. It was really interesting to see the Empire from a different viewpoint, and I have to say, it's one of the best episodes this season. There will be some general plot spoilers here and there, but not anything major, given that there wasn't any major spoilers in the episode itself. So I do recommend you go and watch it first, but you have been warned. As always, despite the fact it tends to get me in trouble, I'm going to give my criticisms and my complaints for this episode first, and there isn't many, so this should be pretty short. The first thing I noticed that irritated me slightly was the fact that they made Boba Fett's armor all pristine and clean and beautiful, and I personally didn't like that. There's something so resonant with Boba Fett's armor being dirty and being damaged, and seeing it so perfect just seemed wrong, and I just would have preferred if it stayed how it was. Additionally, Cara Dune, I said it in the last episode that she was in, and I'll say it again in this episode, I don't like her. Not at all, and I'm really worried that they are going to be making a whole series about her with the newly released Agents of the New Republic, or whatever it was called. There's just something about her that just seems so forced, and it just seems so fake, and I can't buy it, and I just do not like any episode that she's in this season, which is odd because it wasn't as bad last season. But that literally is it for criticisms. Now we're going to get on to the good things, and there is a lot of good things about this episode. Firstly, I have to get this off of my chest. The seismic charge at the end of the episode was the best thing about it. Oh my god, I love seismic charges. I could listen to seismic charges explode all day, every day. Now, clearly with the best thing about the episode out of the way, let's talk about some of the story points. While I didn't necessarily feel it was important to bring back Bill Burr, or whatever his name was from last season, the guy that got put in prison, I like him. His character development and his on-screen presence in this episode was really powerful. Given the fact that he's a relative side character in this overall story, the fact that he had so much character development when it came to his interactions with the Empire, his struggles with his past, I have to say I loved watching it. It's these little moments that I think are extremely important, and I wish we got more for more characters this season, moments like this that really delve into their psyche and their troubles. It really helps to make this character feel more believable, and in Bill Burr's case it is the fact that he was an Imperial and he suffered losses while working with them. I like his upbeat personality and his charm, and truth be told, I really do hope we see more of him. The story, as I said, was a bit of a fetch quest. You know, we have to go to this planet, we have to activate this terminal so we can find this thing. I'm getting a tiny bit bored of this trope that's happening in The Mandalorian, but with that said, the icing around this cake was so sweet, and so I have to talk about the action set pieces on the armoured tanks. It was intense, it was action-packed, it was exactly what you would expect from like a armoured tank chase. It was just really fun to watch. And while there wasn't too much going on with Fennec Shand, or Boba Fett for that matter, their existence in the episode made it feel a bit more connected, and it made it feel a little bit more nostalgic in a way. The real highlight of this episode for me was when they escaped the pirates trying to attack the tank, and they got into the Imperial base, and the Imperials are cheering them, they're shaking hands, they're all happy. Like, seeing the Imperials from a kind of buddy perspective was honestly something I haven't really seen in any Star Wars media. It was promised in Battlefront 2, but we never got it, and for the first time we kind of see that here. We see stormtroopers, and we see workforce, and we see officers that are just living their lives, and there was something about that was really endearing. Obviously, they're evil, they're on the wrong side, but it just kind of gives you a little bit more of a delve into the fact that these people are just people. Also, we see the Mandalorian take off his helmet, and Bill Burr's character has seen him without a mask, which may be important for the future of the show, who knows. The interaction between Bill Burr and his former Imperial officer. The guy who played the Imperial officer, I always recognise him from the old Doom movie. It's a guilty pleasure, and it was nice to see him in something other than Doom. And the whole interaction was really, really tense. It really made your heart beat and kind of sit on the edge of your seat. And you could feel it. You could feel it while watching the episode, and they really did a great job, all three of them, to create this tense atmosphere between Imperial and former Imperial. I will say this, I think the budget for this week's episode should have gone into last week's episode. You could tell there was so much more in this. The environments were luscious. There was so much more CGI. There was so much more going on. And I'm very confused why they couldn't have put this week's budget into last week's episode, because last week's episode was much more important for the fandom, and I think it would have done much more for that episode than it does for this one. But truthfully, other than that, there's really not much to say. This is just a setup episode for the finale, and it does do a great job of that. The ending of this episode specifically really teases that final showdown that we're going to get between the Mandalorian and Moff Gideon, and I can't wait to see that. And hopefully, it's going to be the biggest episode we've had this season. It's going to have surprises, it's going to be really entertaining, and it's going to be sad to see it come to an end. If you have already seen it, I really did hope you enjoy it, and tell me below, what did you think of this week's episode? If you did enjoy this video, perhaps consider subscribing to see my review of the finale next week, and don't forget to hit the like button if you did enjoy it. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Check out my Patreon if you want to support the channel further, and please, come and join my Discord server. We're trying to get partnership, and I would love to have you there. All links are in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, may the Force be with you. Always.